This episode is brought to you by Nespresso and Samra Origins by the Weekend Coffee Collection.
Introducing Samra Origins. My collaboration with Nespresso is a connection to my roots, to my mother, Samra. Coffee that hits the right notes. It transports you. Crafted with unique notes and bold soaring flavors. Experience a taste that moves you. Nespresso and Samra Origins.
Discover more at Nespresso.com.
This episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. Psst, healthcare pros, word's out, and it's too good to keep quiet. Look, LinkedIn is revolutionizing job hunting, making it possible to search by specialty, shift preference, and salary. Endless scrolling is out. Whether it's a mental health therapist or dental hygienist, finding the perfect role is faster and easier than ever. Head to linkedin.com/healthcare and start your search today.
How about that for a Week 3 victory for the San Francisco 49ers? Eddy Piñeiro game-winning field goal as the clock expires. There is so much to break down from San Francisco's Week 3 win, including Mac Jones's game-winning drive, Christian McCaffrey's workload, Ricky Pearsall proving he truly is him, and this young defense coming to play once again. Gonna get into all that. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And let's dive in to the San Francisco 49ers 16-15 Week 3 win against the Arizona Cardinals. And I cannot tell you how frustrating this game was to watch, because there really wasn't a point until the end where I felt as if San Francisco wasn't gonna pull this out. And I think most fans felt the exact same way. Up until when the Niners got called for holding in their own end zone, and the Cardinals got the safety to give them a 13-15 lead. Up until then, I thought, okay, San Francisco's in a good spot. One score wins you the game. The offense will have one drive. The defense will do something. But when that safety happened, I think, at least myself, I put on Twitter, I said, oh, it's over. San Francisco's going to lose this one. And I think a lot of fans felt the exact same way, that this game was so close for so long. They were trading field goals. They were trading 3-and-outs. They were trading whatever it was, stalled drives. It was up until that point where we all kind of said, oh, this is where Kyler makes a big play. This is where Kyler makes, some heroics late in the game and burns San Francisco like he always does. But this is not your typical, or at least this is not your 2024 San Francisco 49ers. And thank God for that, because it makes it a lot easier to talk about winning games like this, where in previous years, mainly last season, they don't win games like this. This young defense folds. This offense doesn't score points late in the game. They get a game-winning field goal from Eddy Piñeiro. That never happens. This team does not win this game last year, which, ironically enough, you can say that about every single game thus far through 3 weeks, but nonetheless, San Francisco is 3-0. They are undefeated still on the season, and it makes this win even better, because not only did or have you now won 2 NFC West bouts, you are 2-0 in the division of the NFC West, but earlier in the day, the Los Angeles Rams blew their lead against the Philadelphia Eagles, which means the San Francisco 49ers, for at least 1 week's time, sits atop the NFC West. The Cardinals lose to San Francisco. They now play the Seahawks on a short week, and San Francisco is riding really high right now, and with all that said, they are 3-0 without Brock Purdy in 2 of those games. George Kittle, basically in all 3 of these games, no Brandon Ayuk, no Demarcus Robinson, no Malik Mustafa. You lose Nick Bosa in this one early, and hopefully he's okay. The initial reports are stating that it's not a torn ACL, which my thought on that is I think he kind of freaked out and thought he retore or tore the ACL on the other knee, and he didn't, and they're kind of hoping and praying it's not as bad as Bosa thought, but they're reporting, and the test would indicate it's not season-ending, it's not really that severe. He walked out of the locker room with no crutches on. The testing was good, so fingers crossed they dodged a bullet. However, my point is San Francisco is 3-0. In games that have been tight, yes, that have been nail-biting, if you will, that have come down to the wire, but are winning it without their top stars, especially on offense, which is a big deal. Last year, San Francisco was 0-2 in games. Brock Purdy didn't play in. This year, they're 2-0. And that keeps your season afloat, where San Francisco could have easily, with a young defense, unproven guys all over the place, an offense already banged up, questions about who your receivers are. You didn't have Juwan Jennings in this one. They could have easily faltered in this game and in week 2 against the Saints, but they didn't. They fought through. They persevered. They're gritty. Games like this are what define the character of a team. And last year, San Francisco, Nick Sorensen and company on defense, they felt paper thin. There was no pushback. There was no resiliency. There was no grittiness. There just wasn't any dog in the fight last year. Where now Robert Saleh's back in the building. You have young guys like Mykel, like Upton Stout, like Marquis Siegel, Alfred Collins, D. Winters, who's still in year 3, that do have some dog in them, that have some pushback, some fight. And to the way the defensive line played in this game without Nick Bosa, I think deserves a ton of credit. You lose your elite level guy on the outside in the first quarter. Big blow for this defense. And I'm sure at some points on tape you'll see that there was some beats missed, if you will, but this defense really didn't feel like Nick Bosa wasn't on the field, which I don't think is the correct thing to say because it doesn't sound right, but the defense played really well. And to the Cardinals' credit, they didn't have 3 of their top cornerbacks on their defense. They didn't have Paris Johnson, their star left tackle, so that's a big loss for them. So the injuries kind of evened themselves out, which set up for an all-time classic Niners versus Cardinals game. And this game, again, came down to the wire. And we've kind of already hit on a bunch of points, but I really think it's important to hammer the point home. San Francisco is undefeated without almost their entire offensive weaponry, their arsenal, right? The offensive line really hasn't gotten the ground game working pretty well. Christian McCaffrey really hasn't hit his stride just yet on the ground, but they're finding ways to win, whether it's, big-time 4th down conversions or it's game-winning field goals. They're finding ways to win games. And if you can stack and rack up wins early, it does make your season get easier, not having to put pressure on you to have to, win for the next 5 to kind of sneak into the playoffs. San Francisco, for what it's worth, albeit 3 weeks into the season, does have a little bit of space, but you play Jacksonville next weekend, and then the Rams week 5. You are set up to capitalize on a really important 5-game stretch to begin the year, where we all said, you win 4 of those games, at least you win 2 of the 3 NFC West games, you're in a good spot. Well, San Francisco is already won 2 games on the road, already won half of the games they won last year, and already won 2 of the NFC West bouts they have. The last one is the Rams week 5, but let's focus on this one. Because like I already said, I was sitting there like, oh, it's over. Safety against San Francisco. Pooney kind of holds in the end zone, it kind of did it how a cornerback kind of hip guides a wide receiver. They called a flag, and it was like, oh, that's the break the Cardinals are going to get. Really, that's it. The things that led to that, don't love Sky Moore fair catching a ball on his own 6-yard line. He didn't do it on the next drive, thankfully, which set up San Francisco for the game-winning drive. Also, don't love Kyle Shanahan utilizing Mac Jones on a bum knee, it looked like, or a PCL injury is what he has, to drop back twice in a row. You have Brian Robinson run the football. You have Christian McCaffrey get 1 to 2 yards. You're averaging 3, which isn't great by any means, but make it 2nd and 7 from your own 10 compared to, first and 10 or 1st and 10 from your own 6. Like, that just feels like illogical. But let's talk about the defense as a whole first, because this game started. San Francisco has been lucky enough to win all of the coin tosses this year. They have deferred every single time, and it's worked out in their favor. And the first 3 drives of this game for the Cardinals, I thought they were long. They were grueling. They were double-digit play drives. And the first drive of the game, you could tell from the jump that San Francisco came to play, that the defensive line came to play, right? They get them into a 3rd and 1 on the first drive. It's 2 checkdowns back-to-back to backup tight end Tip Ryman. 3rd and 1, Mykel has an amazing run stuff against James Conner. They go for it on 4th down. They get it. But the Cardinals are kind of meandering their way down the field. They're taking a false start. They have a delay of game. They get them into 3rd and 8, and Bryce Huff gets a big deflection at the line of scrimmage, and they miss a field goal. I'm not going to lie to you. The red in the stands, I couldn't see the football. I was like, did he make it? Did he miss it? I thought the Cardinals made the opening field goal on their first drive, and thankfully now knowing the score and what it was, they didn't. But San Francisco's defense, once again, playing bend, don't break. The run defense looked awesome. They were getting pressure on Kyler in this drive and really the entire game, where I wouldn't be shocked to see San Francisco walked away with about 15 pressures, albeit that should happen, knowing I think how bad the Cardinals' offensive line is without their top left tackle. But then you have to ask, how do the Niners answer? And like the Saints game, they go 3 and out. In the Saints game, they get lucky, and Chris Olave drops a wide-open touchdown pass that was kind of behind him from Rattler. They get a break. In this game, the Cardinals miss a field goal. Also a break, and on the ensuing drive, they go 3 and out. It was check down CMC, run CMC, because Jake Brendel can't block anything in front of him. He was terrible today. After great games against the Saints, he was just atrocious. Freaking turnstile, and not in the way of the band, which is a great band, but he really should be soul searching after a game like this. He was terrible in this one, but 3rd and 4, incomplete pass to Pearsall, they punt. Okay, not ideal. First drive jitters. Then the Cardinals get the ball on the second drive on their own 8-yard line. Thomas Morstead, the punter, outside of one bad punt in this game, has been incredible for San Francisco. I can't tell you how many drives of the Cardinals or the Saints or the Seahawks have started inside their own 15 to 10-yard line. That's super underrated. Pinning opposing offenses back in their own territory, field, position matters in the NFL. Who would have thought that? And Thomas Morstead has been so good at pinning guys down inside their own 10-yard line this year. But San Francisco, once again, another long drive by the Cardinals, but they hold on. And this is the drive which Nick Bosa gets hurt. They have a 3rd and 9 play where Bosa didn't really get rolled up on. It's kind of like fell over and was like, and fell over. We were like, okay, limps off the field. But San Francisco, like the first drive, forcing the Cardinals into 3rd and longs, a 3rd and 8, a 3rd and 9, doing what the draft strategy was: stuff Connor, stuff Benson, stop early 1st and 2nd down plays, get the opposing offenses in a 3rd and long. They do that. The Cardinals punt, and San Francisco, once again, your defense does the job. You're in fairly good field position here. San Francisco, how do you respond? Run by CMC. A drop by CMC. 2 in this game. Almost 3 in this game by Christian McCaffrey. Then 3rd and 7, Connor Colby gets beat by Josh Sweat, and they punt again. So not the best start of the game for San Francisco. In their first 2 drives, the Niners had 6 plays for 7 yards with 2 3-and-outs and just 2 minutes and 13 seconds off the clock. Not ideal if you are San Francisco, where we talked about leading into this week that the Cardinals want to start off hot. The Cardinals have been known to, in their first 2 games, to get off to hot leads and not be able to close things out late, which, with how the game ended, the last part certainly stood. And San Francisco's defense was so good in this game where they kind of held the line for so long and didn't allow the Cardinals to get that early lead. That was a big thing we discussed coming into this game. Could San Francisco survive the initial punch by the Cardinals? They didn't just survive the first punch. They survived freaking 9 rounds of jabs, and even when the Cardinals went for the uppercut, the KO, they still came back and made some plays. Phenomenal job by the Niners defense in this one. But I have my notes here. After their second drive, after how great San Francisco's defense had been against the Cardinals in their 2 drives, I have my notes here. San Francisco cannot ask their defense to play bend, don't break defense like this for 4 quarters. Now, maybe I'm foolish. They kind of did that the entire game, but usually is not the recipe for success if you are trying to win games at the NFL level, because at that point in time, through again 2 drives, the Cardinals had the football for 12 minutes and 47 seconds. Yeah, 12 minutes and 47 seconds through 2 drives. Meanwhile, San Francisco had it for 2 minutes and 13 seconds through their 2 drives. So in 1 quarter of play, it's not looking good for San Francisco. And then the Cardinals had the football again. This was the one bet kind of Thomas Morstead punt in the game. They got the ball on the 35-yard line. But this was the drive where the Cardinals finally kind of got a little bit of a break. I thought that the Niners had once again forced the Cardinals into 3rd and 4s and 3rd and 5s and done a pretty good job. And, they held and once again got the Cardinals to stall a drive into field goal territory, and they got the field goal. But 3-0 early, you don't mind that. Your defense through 3 drives, 3 points. You're doing pretty well against the Cardinals, who you can tell kind of meander. Oh, not explosive offense, not an offense that'll beat you deep downfield, and usually at least. They don't have a team that you expect to put up 35 points in a game. They're not going to score quickly against you. They want to bleed the clock, meander, and kind of put up field goals if they can and kind of let you make mistakes. The Cardinals offensively do not make mistakes when it comes to turning the football over. But even then, Niners down 3-0. After 3 drives by the Cardinals. And the reason why I keep hitting on the play total and the yardage and the timing is because San Francisco looked sluggish out the gate offensively. There was no rhythm. There was no momentum. The Cardinals were controlling the football in the trenches on offense, at least against San Francisco's offense, I should say, because the Cardinals ran 31 plays through 3 drives, averaging over 10 plays a drive for 113 yards and only put up 3 points. Again, that really is not sustainable for a defense. They'll get tired. They'll get exhausted late in games, and thankfully San Francisco's offense kind of picked things up, but they really didn't that much. The defense has saved them once again, and San Francisco ran 6 plays for 7 yards, but Winters and Warner was flying around. They were making plays, leading to San Francisco's 3rd drive of the game, which they finally found momentum. They had a couple quick plays to MVS, got I think his first reception as a San Francisco 49er. Then Jones hit Pearsall for the first time of the game, which Pearsall was just tremendous in this one for San Francisco. You talk about a guy that is, and we spoke about this a lot during training camp in the preseason, ready for that year 2 jump. We're seeing it now, folks. We saw it against the Seahawks in a couple of plays. We saw it against the Saints a little bit. That was more of a Jawan Jennings game, but this was kind of the big Pearsall breakout where the NFL as a whole sat back and said, oh, that's going to be a problem. And I think we kind of knew that, but we all wanted to see it more of. But when I tell you that this, and I'm going to kind of gloat a little bit, so I'm sorry, I feel so vindicated, which I have been wrong more often than not, as most people are in the NFL landscape of, trying to predict things and in the draft strategy and stuff. You're going to miss. I've missed. You've missed. They've missed. Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch have missed a lot. That's kind of the name of the game. But I stood on my hill, planted my flag, and said, everyone hates the Pearsall pick. I don't get why you hate it. I know it's a wide receiver, and they have Debo, they had Ayuk at the time. Like, why do you want Pearsall? But I kept saying, maybe it wasn't pick 31, but it was pick 36, pick 32, pick 33. I love the skill set he brings to the table. Ricky Pearsall always fit this offense so well. And in this game, he came out, guns a-blazing, if you will. Finished today with 8 receptions for 117 yards. We'll get to his biggest play of the day, the 4th down conversion, later, but he's just awesome, man. It's so good to see young players take the big step.
Hey, it's Paris. I love sparkly things, right? Like stars. Duh. And thanks to Hilton and AutoCamp, I just slept under them. Picture me, serving looks by the fire outside my luxurious Airstream, making s'mores with the kids, while a national park is our backdrop. The great outdoors meets Hilton hospitality. That's hot. Explore all the new ways to stay at Hilton.com. Hilton for the stay.
And for a team that didn't have Jawan Jennings, didn't have IU, didn't have Demarcus Robinson, hasn't had George Kittle, and questions of who's going to step up, who's going to be the number one wide receiver, Pearsall said, hey, me. Put the offensive kind of receiving game on my back and I can carry you. Now, obviously, you want your guys back. You want to have your full arsenal at display because it makes you deeper, makes you more dangerous as a passing offense. But Ricky Pearsall has been awesome. And there are some fans who still would rather have other guys like Ladd McConkey and Xavier Worthy and Brian Thomas Jr. And San Francisco wasn't in the position to draft some of those guys. Whereas I could sit back and say, McConkey's great in his own right. BTJ had a great year last year with Jacksonville, and Worthy's hurt currently, so it is what it is. But when I tell you that Ricky Pearsall has been not just, good for a Niner receiver, good in the absence of some good receivers on San Francisco. No. Pearsall has been darn near a top 5 receiver, top 10 receiver this year, playing with a backup quarterback when the entire defense knows he's the only real receiving threat, not named Christian McCaffrey, and mostly CMC's guarded by linebackers, or maybe a third safety. He's not guarded by the opposing team's top cornerback. Now, yes, in the Cardinals' defense, they don't have their top 3 cornerbacks, but you have to do or play against what they're giving you, and Pearsall has been really good throughout the first 3 games. Over the course of the first 3 weeks, he has 93.7 yards per game. That's 4th in the entire NFL amongst wide receivers. He has 17.6 yards per catch. That's 5th amongst wide receivers. He has 12.2 yards per target. That leads all the wide receivers. He has 16 catches. That's tied for 14th. So not overly targeted, but still really efficient. And he has 14 first downs this year. That's tied for 2nd. You talk about missing 3rd and Juwan and needing the clutch catch to kind of ice the game or kind of keep your offense on the field to extend the drive. Pearsall has been Mr. Reliable for this offense this year, whether it's in breaking routes where he finds himself wide open, or, which I think is kind of surprising for a player like Pearsall, who is known for his route running and the ability to kind of gain separation against cornerbacks, he hasn't really been successful in doing that too much this year, to a point where all of his catches this year, or in this game against the Cardinals, 8 catches, 117 yards against the Cardinals, came with the defender within 3 yards of him. Not much separation. He's trying to fight for the football. And a lot of that is him coming back to the ball where Jones isn't too accurate at times. Pearsall's fighting for the football. And again, you go to his big, third or fourth and 2 conversion today for 34 yards downfield. There's a defender draped all over him. He comes down with an amazing 4th and 2 conversion towards the right sideline, which was a gutsy play call in itself to have your backup quarterback drop back, quick throw to the right sideline, kind of catch the Cardinals sleeping with a game in the balance. What a big play call for Kyle. What a big trusting of Mac Jones that was for Kyle, and how gutsy it was to make that play with Mac Jones injured at the time. So good on Kyle for having the balls to do that. But Pearsall, again, he leads, and I'm not kidding here, Ricky Pearsall, not Jamar Chase, not Justin Jefferson, not, Brian Thomas Jr., not A.J. Brown, not other great guys, Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, the best guys in football. Pearsall leads every single one of them with 267 receiving yards on contested catches situations. He has 61 more yards than any other player in the league. When I tell you Pearsall is him, it's the truth. Now, I'm sure at some point his production will dip when Kittle and Ayuk come back, but you have to think, if it's good now, how good could it be when everyone's back in the fray? When he's not having to deal with double teams, or Ayuk's taking up, the top receiver or top cornerback, and Kittle has the safeties preoccupied, and Robinson's out there in a 4-wide situation, and CMC's in the backfield. How open can he get then, right? Where maybe now, because there's guys draped all over him, the way they're kind of guarding him and shading him, there are more contested catch opportunities for him. Tight window throws, if you will, right? When they have everybody out there healthy, those tight window throws become wide window throws. You like that? And Pearsall becomes more open, more of a threat, and you may see his stats, albeit not be 8 for 117, if you will, but might be 6 for 85 with 1 touchdown. Like, there's a real possibility Pearsall sustains this success throughout the entire year. Obviously, some defenses that are better will, guard him better and whatnot, and the Cardinals' defense is not that good. The Niners' offense has just been really sluggish, mainly on the ground. That's a big problem for me still, and is yet to be kind of fixed, and hopefully it gets fixed soon, because if you can't run the football, you're going to be in some deep doo-doo against teams like the Rams and the Buccaneers, and against the Texans, and against maybe a playoff team down the road. But I digress. Pearsall's been awesome. All the doubt, any of the conversation of, they don't have any weapons, and I was talking to Cardinals fans, and they were saying, you don't have anybody, Juwan Jennings is out, who's going to beat us now? Who's your top guy? And it's like, you see that white boy over there with the tattoos? You better watch out, man, because he's been at every cookout, and he's going to cook you today. Pearsall was awesome, and I really am happy for Niner fans to see what I saw at Florida, the potential he has to grow as a player, but more importantly, for Ricky himself, his story's so great, getting shot, coming back, and kind of playing this lost year, and kind of getting his feet wet, but then you see in training camp in the preseason, like, he's ready. This is a big jump for him in year 2, kind of in year 1 still. Like, he didn't debut until week 7. So technically, kind of a rookie still. Like, don't forget that. He's kind of still a rookie. He's not played a full season just yet, and we're seeing a massive jump from him in year 2. He was one of the biggest reasons San Francisco won this game today. He took advantage of some poor cornerback play. Cottrell Clark got cooked a couple times against him. And he has a knack of finding the football on these pivotal downs. And there was a great catch where Jones just throws wide left. Pearsall jumps back and kind of puts his hands up and kind of reaches back and catches the football. And it was like, wow. Dude has some mitts. Dude has some hands. And I really hope Ayuk can come back and be a resemblance of his former self, because the sky is the limit for a player like Pearsall to either be a really good number 2 or a kind of nice number 1 wideout. My assumption is a really good number 2, which is never a bad thing. If you're a number 2 on an offense that has Ayuk and Kittle, you're a really good wide receiver. So, love what I saw from Mickey today. Like, he was Slick Rick out there in week 3. The way he plays is it's so fun to watch. Like, you just know, here comes Pearsall, and that did get Mac Jones in trouble today. We all knew it was coming. Oh, it's 3rd down. Here comes Pearsall. And the Cardinals said, we know it's coming too. Bait him, and they did it. And Jones threw a pick. And then it was like, oh, no. Why'd you do that? That was so telegraphed. And then in the post-game press conference, Mac Jones was like, he didn't make a good play on it. I just had a bad throw. Threw it right to him. Like, congratulations, I guess. But, like, you didn't do anything. So Mac Jones having some comical side to his mistake. But let's continue with the notes, because Pearsall, great. We know that. And San Francisco gets the football back. They're down 3-0. They march downfield. Jones is dotting balls, tight window throws to Bourne, to Pearsall, to Tungus. But then San Francisco's drive stalls on 3rd and 15. They get a field goal. I kind of thought to myself, does Mac Jones need 2 drives to kind of get the jitters out, kind of calm himself down, which, again, you don't love that. You'd rather have a quick start to a game. And sometimes if you're playing a good offense, say the Rams in 2 weeks' time, or the Buccaneers, who are probably going to have Evans and Godwin and Buka, who's been awesome for them, kind of back in week 6, can you afford to be down 2 drives early? But Purdy should be back soon, hopefully. So maybe we don't have to address that. But worth mentioning that if Purdy does miss more time, Jones has shown a very, very slow startability for San Francisco. And my next note was San Francisco cannot run the football. I cannot tell you how frustrating it was early in the game, because if you listened to or watched our preview podcast for this game, I kept saying, the Cardinals' run defense has kind of gotten lucky in a way of they get out to early leads, opposing offenses stop running the football, thus kind of rendering the rushing offense kind of irrelevant. Like, no one's doing it because you're down by 17 in the second quarter or the third quarter. And I kept saying, San Francisco should not abandon the run. And to their credit, they didn't do that. However, they still can't run the football. Like, they are, I think, the only offense in the league, and this is going to sound crazy, I believe the San Francisco 49ers offense that has a healthy Christian McCaffrey, Kyle Shanahan calling plays, Kyle Juszczyk as the fullback, Trent Williams on the left side, are the only offense to not have a rushing touchdown this season. I believe they are the only team. Not a quarterback sneak for a touchdown, not a running back run for a touchdown, not a receiver end around for a touchdown. They have all been passing touchdowns this year. San Francisco cannot run the football effectively. There's no push. For as good as McCaffrey has been, there has been less holes to run through. There's been less lanes to kind of plow his way through. And this was a better game for them. Brian Robinson had the big 19-yard run late in the game. McCaffrey had, I think, a 15-yard run in this one. So there was some of the explosiveness there, but I'd rather have a consistent 4 to 5 yards per carry, which is tough to do in the NFL, but that's kind of average nowadays, than a 19-yard run late. Yes, those are great. Keep those, but I'd rather you have more consistency, because if you run the football 3 times in a row, and like San Francisco's doing, only gaining roughly 3 yards a carry today was better, 3.7 yards, but McCaffrey himself, 3.1 yards. You rush it 3 times in a row, that's not a first down. Whereas 2 years ago, which was CMC's Offensive Player of the Year award-winning season, he's getting 4.5, 4.7, 5 yards a pop at times, and you're just saying, hey, run CMC every single play. It's an automatic first down every third run, sometimes every second run. And now it's like you're not guaranteed a first down ever with how bad the offensive line's been playing, with how the effectiveness, whether it's missing George Kittle or bad blocking, they just cannot run the football. And yes, opposing defenses are playing too shell at times. And also, the Cardinals today, like Seattle was, they were stacking the box. They were saying, hey, we know you don't have Ayuk. There is no Kittle. There is no Juwan Jennings. We're putting 8 in the box and saying, hey, bring it. We'll drop 4. We had no problem dropping 4. Or we'll drop 5 at most. We're going to have 7 guys, 8 guys in the box, sometimes 9 guys in the box, daring Christian McCaffrey on early downs to beat them. And the offensive line has no push. They aren't doing anything. Jake Brendel, a turnstile. I don't think Connor Colby was that good in this game. Again, it's his first start, and maybe he was hurt, so we can kind of, push that aside, I guess you could say. Pooney wasn't great in this game either. The tackles were good. I thought so. Late in the game, on the 19-yard run by Robinson, who's downfield making plays, the guy nobody likes, Colton Kivitz opening up things. So the interior offensive line for San Francisco is still a problem. Obviously, you like Pooney a lot. Colby's young, but you just need more from the group. San Francisco desperately needs to insulate that group or find new starters. They can't do it now, unfortunately, but in the draft next year, hopefully, they can do that. But this is a concern. You are now 3 games into the year, and you've played the Seahawks, a really good defense, the Saints, an underrated defense but a bad team overall, the Cardinals, who I think are an underrated defense as well, but who are the Cardinals really? They'll be fine. Good, probably not, but they'll be fine. They'll be a competitive team, but you can't run the football. Whereas Christian McCaffrey walked into this game in 7 career games, I believe. 10 touchdowns. 1,000 yards total against a defense of the Cardinals, which it's new personnel. It's not the same terrible defenses they've had in the past, but the expectation was CMC, break out on the ground, here we go, and they couldn't get the ball in the end zone. They had drives stall at the 1 because they could not get the ball in the end zone running the ball. Now, there is some context behind that. Mac Jones, bum knee, he was hopscotching to McCaffrey saying, take the ball, please, on one foot. But there's no push. This team has yet to. The same problem as last year. They cannot run the football. I don't know why that's the case entirely. I'm not an NFL head coach, so forgive me there. Maybe somebody can help me out in the comments. But San Francisco's, and this is my biggest concern of theirs, they're 3-0, we're riding high, feeling good. They're gritty. These are wins you have to get, win ugly if you can. I'll take it. But if there is a concern, it is San Francisco's lack of rushing attack. Whether it's CMC, I would have loved to have seen more Brian Robinson in this game. I don't know why he wasn't utilized that much. He only had 2 carries. I would have loved to have seen more B-Rob. I don't need 20. Just give me 5 or 6. Alleviate CMC if you can, which I don't love Mac Jones dropping back 40 times, but bad Cardinal secondary, it worked, why not? I just, thinking of the future, that's not always going to work. And this game certainly felt like a game where you wanted to see more Christian McCaffrey, or at least you wanted to see San Francisco finally break out of the kind of mold they've been in of like an offense that can't run the football very well, which is still a concern for me. Still a massive concern. So is it a concern for you? Drop those comments down below and tell me, what is your biggest concern despite being 3-0 for the San Francisco 49ers? Continuing on with the notes here, San Francisco, games tied 3-0. They get a big 3-and-out. You see Warner and Alfred Collins probably had his best game of the season today. Very, very, very good growth from him. Make a run stuff on 3rd and 1. They force a punt and get the ball back. Momentum is all theirs. You're at home. The faithful were loud. You are starting to kind of move the football, which the next drive was a big one for San Francisco. I do think the Cardinals got bailed out here. This was, I think, the drive leading into halftime, right? Leading into halftime, I think it was. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was, where they get a big play action to Christian McCaffrey, then a big run to CMC, then it's 3rd and 10. CMC has dropped his second pass of the game. You're sitting there saying, hey, we want to double up on the Cardinals. San Francisco, in all 3 games so far, have been in a situation just like this. Against the Seahawks, they tried this. Moody missed the field goal, right? Against the Saints, they have 1 minute and 14 seconds. They marched down the field 1 minute and 7, scored a touchdown. San Francisco against the Cardinals. Hey, what are you going to do? Field goal? Missed field goal? Touchdown against the Saints? What's the outcome going to be? How is this going to look? And San Francisco is in a great spot in their 4th drive of the game just before halftime to double up on the Cardinals because they get the ball at a halftime. It's 3rd and 10. Who does Jones find? Wide open over the middle. That's right. For 20 yards downfield, it's Ricky Pearsall. They're moving the ball once again. Brendel gets called for a brutal holding call with 32 seconds left. It moves San Francisco further out of field goal range. They then kind of march their way back forward, get a big completed pass to Kendrick Bourne, who actually was pretty good in this game for San Francisco. But with 26 seconds left, it's early in the game. It's 3-3. The game is 3-3. I didn't love Shanahan playing it safe.
This episode is presented by State Farm. Having insurance isn't the same as having State Farm. It's like expecting the leadership of a team captain on the football field, but getting a sea captain. You wouldn't settle for just anything for your team. Shouldn't it be the same for your insurance? So don't settle for just any insurance when you can go with a leader. State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
In this drive, I thought the Cardinals were on their heels. Your defense is playing lights out football. Be aggressive. You have 2 minutes to work with here. 2 minutes to work with here. And you ran 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plays, not including 2 incomplete passes. And you milked it from 2 minutes down to 36 seconds until your first timeout. I get it. You have timeouts. You'd rather use them closer to the end zone if you can get there. But I thought San Francisco, mainly Kyle Shanahan, the clock management was really bad. Why are we wasting? Like, you have the Cardinals on their heels. You're at home. Go score a touchdown. If a drive does stall, then go for the field goal. Why are we sitting here like, 2 minutes, milk the clock, play for a field goal? Because you saw against the Saints, you wanted to double up. The next drive out of halftime, Mac Jones fumbled the football. And I would have taken that and said, hey, we should be aggressive and score a touchdown here, or try to at least. But with 26 seconds left, it's an incomplete pass to Christian McCaffrey. For whatever reason, they didn't call roughing the passer on Calais Campbell, which Calais Campbell, he's like 97,000 years old. He's a dinosaur, making plays still. Just awesome. He's a freaking dog on the interior for the Cardinals, has been for a long time. Probably a Hall of Famer. He's incredible. Like, he's making plays to this day. And that dude is old, but Jones throws the football, is like paused for a second or two, then Campbell jumps at him and hits him in the head and knocks him down. And they cut to Campbell after the hit, and the referee runs up to him and is warning him, don't do that. And it's look, you play football for a long time, you're in a sport for a long time, they'll give veterans some leeway. But if it's a flag, call the flag. I get it if it's a non-consequential, secondary holding where he wasn't targeted, go to the cornerback and say, hey, dude, you do it again, I'm going to call you for holding, kind of thing. Or like, oh, it's a DPI, whatever. But like clearly hitting the quarterback after the ball's out, and we can see on the broadcast, clear as day, the ref is like talking to him, being like, don't do that. No, throw the flag. If you want to protect quarterbacks and you care about player safety, care about the backup quarterback safety too. Mahomes gets that call. Allen gets that call. Lamar Jackson gets that call. And look, Mac Jones ain't those dudes. I know that. But he's a quarterback in the NFL. It is your job to protect him. And you wouldn't want a 375, 90-pound lineman hitting you when they don't have to. But that's my one kind of qualm with the referees. My gripe. Call, that is a roughing the passer. It would have given San Francisco 15 yards. They would have had, I think, 2 timeouts left. And maybe could have put some points on the board. Maybe Shanahan gets more aggressive, but knowing him, he doesn't. Nevertheless, San Francisco gets the field goal. They're winning 6-3. And then the Niners, which they have not been able to do, get the ball back at a halftime, and they have to punt. Which, okay, whatever, that sucks. You get called for a holding call early in the drive because Colby gets called for a holding, which may have not been one. You get to check down a CMC, gets a first down, but then the drive stalls, you punt. And like Morstead has been all year long, like he was early in the game, pins the Cardinals inside their own 15-yard line on their own 14. And this may have been one of the more excruciating drives for San Francisco because they had them. They had the Cardinals multiple times. They look rattled. This is the drive where I was saying on Twitter and yelling at my TV saying, they're on their heels, they're gassed, they're demoralized. This is where San Francisco's defense needs to put them out of their misery, force a punt, get a takeaway. Hopefully the offense can get the football back and score some points because 2 plays into this drive from their own 14-yard line, James Conner is tackled by Marquis Siegel and somebody else, and he snaps his ankle. Done for the season. And I love James Conner. I hope he gets healthy. He's an awesome dude, an awesome player. I hate injuries so much, but he gets hurt. Okay? They're rattled. The game is stopped. The cart comes out. This is a young Cardinals team. This defense is young too, I get that. But I'm sitting there like, this is where you take over. This is where you stomp on their throats while you can. You're ahead by 3. Get the ball back. Make it a 2-score game if possible. In San Francisco, the very next play, Marvin Harrison is wide open downfield, and he drops the pass. And I'm like, you're validating everything I'm saying to myself in the television. This is where we win the game. And it's 3rd and 7, and Murray hits Zay Jones over the middle. San Francisco blitzes, and I was like, oh, okay, like, got lucky, whatever. San Francisco then gets the Cardinals into another 3rd down because the Cardinals false start. They get a screen. They get 12 yards. It's 3rd and 3. They call a timeout because they're rattled again. They don't know what's going on. The faithful were so loud in this one. It's 3rd and 3, and who comes out of nowhere? Mykel Williams, the dog. He got hurt in the first quarter or first half, hurt his wrist, came back, and dude, he's going to be a star. Mykel is going to be a star. May not get you 10 sacks, but he makes plays. It was the right pick, folks. Through 3 weeks, it was the right pick for this defense. Huge 3rd and 3 stop. It forces the Cardinals into a 4th and 4. And I'm sitting here like, oh, we got him. Here we go. They get a 4th down conversion. And I'm like, okay. They got lucky again. It's the 3rd time's a charm. And then all of a sudden, Trey Benson breaks a 29-yard run, the biggest run of the game for both teams. And I'm sitting there like, did the Cardinals offense get better without James Conner? Uh-oh. And like Siegel missed the tackle big time. He has the outside leverage. He cuts to the inside. Benson just goes, whoop, and he's gone for 29 yards. And I'm like, oh, crap. The Cardinals are in the red zone. San Francisco, gets lucky again because on 3rd and 6, Eddy Piñeiro drops a wide open, would have been walk-in touchdown. And I'm like, how many times, like, how great can San Francisco's defense be? But all these games are like, wow, Olave drops a touchdown pass. Wow, Eddy Piñeiro drops a wide open touchdown pass. Wow, Marvin Harrison Jr. drops a big pass over the middle. Like, there's like a couple plays per game where you're like, that really would have been the difference had a good team or they caught the football. So they catch a break. They get lucky. The game is 6-6. It's 6-6 late. We are in the third quarter. It's getting dicey, folks. It's getting dicey, okay? And this, to me, at this point in time, when it's 6-6, it's late in the game, like San Francisco, like it's kind of do or die at this point, which obviously it wasn't, but it felt that way where like the next team to score is going to win, or if you don't score, they're going to score because the offensive play is picking up, things are getting more explosive, and they're starting to feel themselves, and you're like, oh my God, the tension's at a 10, you're nail biting, you're kind of seat grabbing like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? And before I get to that, I want to remind you folks, if you want to see the anxiety-inducing play of the San Francisco 49ers this year, and you want to see him live, in person, against the Jaguars at home week 4, week 5, at Levi's South, a.k.a. SoFi Stadium, against the Rams in 2 weeks' time, or you're looking to pre-order some tickets for later on in the season, go to SeatGeek.com. It is America's #1 ticketing app. I use it. My wife uses it. My brother uses it. We all use it. It is the best place to get sporting event tickets. And when you check out, find your seats you like. Get the best view you can possibly get at your price and what you want to pay. And then use promo code 49ersaccess. 49 ERSACCESS at SeatGeek.com. That'll save you $20 off your purchase. It'll help pay for parking, help pay for your gas, help buy you a beer. Who knows? It may even help give you a discount towards a souvenir. Use that promo code, save yourself some money, and watch your San Francisco 49ers live and in person in 2025. Football games are so fun with the family, with the kids. I can tell you, my first 49er game was that Candlestick. It was Ahmed Plummer getting the pick 6 in the preseason. Then later it was Niners, Cardinals. Cody Pickett was the quarterback. It was a yikes. It was not a fun game. I saw Niners and the Giants, Plaxico Burress dicing up our terrible defense then, but now San Francisco's good. And they're worth seeing in person. So use that promo code 49ersaccess. Take the kids, take the wife, take the husband, or the holidays are around the corner. Buy then some tickets and also save yourself some moolah in the meantime. Promo code 49ersaccess at SeatGeek.com and save yourself $20 off your first purchase. Okay, let's set the scene. It's 6-6. San Francisco has the ball on their own 36-yard line. It's getting dicey, folks. To quote Stu from Scream 1, I'm feeling a little bit woozy here. How is this game gonna go for San Francisco? They come out of the gate firing back-to-back completions to Pearsall for over 20 yards, again for 8 yards, a big run by Christian McCaffrey. Jake Tunges has a big block. MVS has a big block to spring CMC. Then he has another 10-yard run that gets called back for holding from Kendrick Bourne, and it's 1st and 17. And it's like, okay, is this where it ends? Is this where the drive stalls? Excellent play. This is the kind of reach back play from Pearsall for 5 yards. Check down for 8 yards to Christian McCaffrey. It's 3rd and 4. Again, what happens? Pearsall, first down reception, bing, bang, boom, drives continues. And this is where it gets, once again, a little dicey because they get into the red zone. A place that this year has not been as hard as to score as it was last year for San Francisco, but They run the football 3 straight times. Robinson on first down, CMC on second down, 3rd and goal, where again, you would think you have 10 yards to gain. You should get in the end zone on 3 runs with your guys. They can't. CMC gets kind of blown back and kind of falls forward for, maybe half a yard if you're lucky. And it's 4th and goal. This is the drive where Mac Jones gets hurt. This is the drive where on 3rd down, he's hopscotching like, to get to Christian McCaffrey to hand him the football. He had like a dolphin dive of, catch Christian, and Christian was like, oh crap, and caught it behind him and got blown up afterwards, sitting at 4th down. Now it's 6-6. I would have really liked if Shanahan goes for the field goal here. Your quarterback is clearly in pain. You need to at least salvage some points. Force the Cardinals to have to score some points to win the game, right? You're tied. If anything, I would like to at least put the pressure on the opposing team to make a play. And your defense has been playing so good, why not take the field goal here? Now I get it. Be aggressive. It's 4th and goal. You may not get back into the red zone. I totally get that thought process, but no George Kittle, no Ayuk, no Robinson, a hobbled quarterback. You clearly can't run the football. Kick the field goal. Instead, they call a pass. Mac Jones is like limping, like, hike, looks to McCaffrey of like, no one's open, but you kind of are, checks it down, he gets freaking throttled by Mac Wilson, and I'm sitting there just like, we just gave them momentum, this is terrible, this is where dreams go to die, but okay, they're at the 1-yard line, what is there to lose? And then all of my nightmares in the flash of one play almost became dreams. Because it's ball on the 1-yard line. They complete a pass to Marvin Harrison Jr. They have a short yardage run with Benson, and it's 3rd and 1. And I'm thinking, oh, they're going to run the football. This is the Cardinals. They get the ball. I'm thinking 3rd and 1. You do a quarterback sneak. You do, Benson run, a Demore, whatever, a Trey McBride run in this game. You do something, right? But and this was this to me was awesome to watch. They do a drop back. Like they drop back with Murray. May have been a play action, but nevertheless, Murray has the football in the backfield. They're throwing the ball. And CJ West breaks containment, gets pressure on the interior, and has Murray in the end zone. And I'm like, oh my God, it's going to be a safety. And Murray, being the little mouse he is, gets away, and you're like, oh, why? And then all of a sudden, here comes Mykel Williams, like, not today. He's running at him. You're like, oh my God, Mykel. And you think it's a safety. He has him. He's bringing him down. It's going to be 2 points for San Francisco. They'll save the offense once again. They'll make it 8-6. They'll get the ball back. What a great play by West and Mykel. And then here comes, freaking, I don't know, the cauldron of Alfred Collins. Just like, I'm gonna kill Kyler Murray in slow motion because he's so freaking slow. It's awesome. He's just is running down the field, like closing in on him. Murray throws the ball, but right before he does, Collins is like in midair, like, I'm gonna kill you. The ball comes out, and we're all thinking that's intentional grounding. That's a safety. And because Murray's entire body, besides his hand and the ball, were out of the end zone, it's not a safety. And we're just like, oh my God, Salah's screaming. We're saying, challenge it, challenge it. They don't challenge it, obviously. The Fox broadcast got it right. But San Francisco, to see Alfred Collins, CJ West, and Mykel Williams, 3 guys you drafted to be brought in to be, game wreckers, enforcers on your defense, on that offensive line, to really change the trajectory of your defensive line success leading into the season. to see them nearly bring home a 2-point, whatever would have been a safety to stall a drive to kind of, at that time, seem like it was going to change the outcome of the game, which maybe it did, but to see those three guys converge on a play, it was like, that's the future. That's what's in store for this team. If, like, you would like at some point in time, all three of those guys playing on the field together, and we got that against the Cardinals. And in at least one kind of microcosm of a play, they had an incredible outing. West, Collins, and Williams, just West with the initial pressure, Mykel kind of wrapping up Murray, and then Collins kind of coming in for the kill, if you will. But not a safety. Game is 6-6. And San Francisco gets a punt. They get the ball back on their own 48-yard line, on Arizona's 48-yard line, and they march downfield quick because a check down CMC, run CMC, 3rd and 5. Is this where the drive stalls? The Niners offense couldn't move the football. So it's 3rd and 5. They do a draw with Christian McCaffrey, clearly setting up 4th down. Now, I think everybody assumed, and it seemed like the Cardinals also assumed, that, 4th and 2, they're going to run the football or it'll be check down CMC. Like it has been, things will be close towards line of scrimmage. Shanahan, gutsy, ballsy, dude had his nuts hanging from the back of whatever car he has, just flopping around out of the side of his pants like, hey, watch this. This dude quickly gets to the line. There's no cadence. There's no hot, none of that. It is just the minute Brendel puts his hands on the ball, we're going. Ball is snapped, drop back. It's a freaking 34-yard completion towards the right sideline to Ricky Pearsall over Catrell Clark. It gets San Francisco in the red zone, and you're like, oh my God. There was 12 minutes left in a tied game on 4th down near midfield. If you don't get that play, you are giving the Cardinals the ball right near midfield with 12 minutes to go. The game is in their grasp. And Shanahan just said, hey, watch this. We got this. Great throw by Mac Jones with a bad knee, mind you. Great job by Pearsall leveraging himself, going up for the football over a young cornerback in Clark. Just a great job, great play call, gutsy. Now, if it doesn't work, we're sitting here like, what the heck was that, man? Are you serious? That's what you're calling on 4th and 2? Just check it down. Just run the football. Like, what the heck is going on? But to their credit, man, the trust Kyle has had in Mac Jones through 2 games, 39 dropbacks in week 2 against the Saints, 41 today.
Mint is still $15 a month for premium wireless. And if you haven't made the switch yet, here are 15 reasons why you should. 1, it's $15 a month. 2, seriously, it's $15 a month. 3, no big contrast. 4, I use it. 5, my mom uses it. Are you playing me off? That's what's happening, right? Okay, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, $15 per month equivalent required. New customer offer first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
41. That's 80 dropbacks. 80 dropbacks, I believe. Right? 80 dropbacks? 80 dropbacks in 2 games for Mac Jones. When has Kyle ever wanted a backup quarterback? Whether it was Nick Mullins, Beathard, Purdy, Garoppolo, Lance, to ever drop back 40 times a game. Now, obviously, context matters, and maybe there have been instances of that, but not when you are a 2-0 team and are not down by a ton of points. It's a tie game. And you drop back 40 times with Mac Jones, and to Mac's credit, he played okay today. He wasn't great by any means, but there was glimpses of really nice plays. This 4th down conversion being, I think, maybe his best play of the day. Just an incredible throw, kind of threading that needle on the sideline. It was awesome. The drive ends with a play-action bootleg touchdown to Kyle Juszczyk. He gets in the end zone. The juice is loose. We're all drinking juice boxes, and we're saying, let's freaking party. Like, we're up 13-6. And funny enough, Kyle said that was the play he wanted to call when they got stuffed on 4th down in the red zone in the previous drive. And it was like, wait a minute. So you wanted to call a play-action bootleg with your quarterback that has a bum knee, and you almost consider calling a timeout to either get the play call in or kick a field goal. And then I'm thinking, well, imagine had you kicked the field goal. It'd be 16-13. But maybe I'm wrong there. The game could have changed, but just thinking of points you left off the board, and again, Pearsall continues to be just an awesome player. 4th down conversion, 3rd down conversions, he is him. Pearsall is him. Not that new bad Jordan Peele produced movie. That movie not good, but Ricky Pearsall is him. That's a good movie to watch. Like, I'll be showing my dog, I don't have kids, my dog Ricky Pearsall highlights tomorrow saying, "We're in the good days, aren't we, kid? You won't believe what happened on Sunday against the Cardinals. Look at Pearsall here on 4th down. Isn't it special?" But whatever. Okay. Moving along. You're up 13-6. I'm sure, like, I felt this way. Maybe you felt this way, that, okay, defense is playing bend, don't break the entire day. There's no promise the Cardinals answer. They aren't explosive, right? They don't make big plays, right? And just like the Seahawks game, just like the Saints game, Renardo Green just says, here's my drive. Here's my bad drive per game. I'm going to give it to you. And I don't know if it's not trusting himself or being out of position, but there's just been that one drive per game. And it's just like, God, if you could, like, he was so good throughout the entirety of the game before that. But that one bad drive where the first play of the next drive for the Cardinals, they had a 32-yard pass to a wide-open Marvin Harrison Jr. He catches this one. Then they get a run by Benson, and the Cardinals say, you know what, we're going deep again. Green gets deep downfield while covering Zay Jones. Funny enough, Murray throws the ball to Zay Jones, guarded by Green. The ball is underthrown. Green sees Jones go up. He panics, kind of gets his head around late, but he's already in midair, grabbing onto Zay Jones. Because the ball's underthrown, Marvin Harrison Jr. is like diving in the end zone. He catches the football, has it in his hands, but then he drops it. So I'm thinking, are they calling a defensive pass interference on Green when the ball was targeted to Harrison Jr.? But then you watch the play back and you're like, oh no, Murray was not targeting Harrison Jr. at all. He just underthrew that ball. Now, maybe it was on purpose to get a DPI, which could certainly be the case. But just a bad play by Green. Trust your instincts, man. Like, you've made so many big, crucial mistakes where, thankfully, you've been kind of bailed out, but because Green's a good player. Green was great last year for San Francisco. 2nd round pick, FSU. Like, he has all the ability in the world to be a really, really good cornerback. And almost every game, he's been good, besides one drive. And you just facepalm and you're like, oh, like, we had to freaking grind out offensive drives to score some points, and then they score in freaking 5 plays. And you're just like, oh, what an answer. What a freaking answer. It's just like, you've got to be kidding me. And then San Francisco gets the ball back, and, you know, like, really what it comes down to is they get a touchdown on you, right? Mac Jones gets the ball. They kind of march downfield and moving the football 9 yards to Christian McCaffrey, a run by CMC, 19 yards by Ren Robinson, 5 yards by CMC. You're feeling yourself. It's 3rd and 5 on Arizona's 36-yard line. Get the field goal. You're right there. It's not great. Obviously, you want to get a first down, but there is no reason to force a throw. Mac Jones on 3rd down. He locks onto Pearsall right to Taylor Demerson for the interception. He runs it back 18 yards to the Arizona 39, and I think we all collectively said, this is it. This is where the Cardinals win, but Can we now talk about Fred Warner? Can we now say All-Pro Fred on 3rd and 9? With the game on the line, really? To kind of halt the Cardinals' momentum? Like, the Cardinals went touchdown, interception on defense, and the ball near midfield on their own 40 on their own 40-yard line. Like this is it. 3rd and 9 though, Fred Warner, man, DPOY. Like, there is nobody better at linebacker. In fact, I said this live on 95.7 The Game, and I'll say it here. Fred Warner is the best linebacker, middle linebacker to clarify, in San Francisco 49ers history. Willis was awesome. I watched his entire tenure. He was an incredible player. Bowman, also great. Dudes are just legends in my eyes. Those are my 49er linebackers, right? You get deeper to other guys in the 80s and the 90s and the 70s and 60s, whatever. Warner, I would pick over all of them. His coverage skills, his knack for making the big play, his knack for just knowing where to be at the right time. Had a big PBU against the Saints, had the big forced fumble against the Saints, a couple of big plays against the Seahawks, mainly in run defense, and this one was just everywhere in run defense, but also in this game on 3rd and 9, when the Cardinals are near midfield with momentum, he like fake blitzes, kind of like halts towards line of scrimmage. He's kind of like, I'm trying to get a rush, realizes Murray's rearing back to throw and just jumps up, knocks it down, 3rd and 9, and you're like, oh my God, we have a chance. Oh my God, Fred just stopped momentum. Game-changing play. Here we go, baby. Like, Warner and Winters were flying around all day making plays, and I told you, Larry Kruger, the guys on Cover 3 exclusively on YouTube, that the biggest difference makers on this defense, amongst many others, is having 2 linebackers that can fly around against a mobile quarterback. San Francisco, for the most part, held Kyler Murray in check on the ground. Now, he isn't one to do design runs, but Murray ran the football 6 times for 37 yards. His longest was 9 yards. 9 yards. He didn't do much, and he wasn't bad, but they held him in check. They kept contained for the most part. Like, Murray was not a game-wrecking player. This was probably the best game outside of that late 2023 game they played against the Cardinals where they held Murray in check. And this game was close the entire time. Again, it was tied after the first quarter. It was 6-3 at the end of 2. It was 6-6 at the end of 3. And it was a 1-point game at the end. But nevertheless, the Niners get the ball back. Okay? And this may be a lot of people's biggest complaints of the game. Defense played great. Offense escaped. Pearsall, Christian McCaffrey, great game. Like, all that stuff. This drive in itself may have been, if not for the 4th and goal kind of failed conversion, this may have been the biggest one because this one gave the Cardinals points. They punt the ball to Sky Moore, who, Sky Moore's fine, whatever. He calls for a fair catch on his own 6-yard line, which inherently, usually you have your feet on the 10. Anything behind you, you either let it go or you fake it and just kind of leave it up for chance. Now, I can understand maybe more wanting to avoid the ball getting downed at the 1, at the 2. I get that, but that's a chance you're usually willing to take. He calls for a fair catch at the 6. The Niners, with the hobbled Mac Jones, don't run the football. They pass it on first down, incomplete. The next play, Calais Campbell is like, Dominic Pooney, you're my lunch. This blows right by him. Pooney kind of grabs him a little bit, offensive holding in the end zone. It's a flag. It's a safety. And Niners are magically down 15-13. And you're like, oh no. Like that meme from Planet of the Apes where the guy's like, oh no. That's what it was like. Like I put on Twitter, we just lost the game. Like, that felt like the bow breaking. That felt like this is where it ends. That they've had so many chances to pull ahead, to get a field goal. They were in the red zone. They couldn't score. They didn't get a safety early in the game off the Mykel West and Collins pressure. That was a big kind of whiff by them, albeit it wasn't anyone's fault. Just like, oh, you missed opportunity. Jones interception, you're like, you don't get 4 chances. You don't get 3 chances for points and not score. And you just gave them 2 free points. And now they're winning with like 3 minutes left. Not ideal whatsoever. Not ideal at all. If I can see in my notes here, yeah, I have it right here. So they kicked the ball back to the Cardinals because of the punt. Or because of the safety. They kick it off to him, okay? Murray scrambles, then Benson gets a first down, and San Francisco calls their first timeout. San Francisco has 3 timeouts. There's really one chance to stop them. If they get 2 first downs, the game is over. Like, that's it. It's over. 2 first downs, and night, you are 2-1. You lost to the Cardinals. You blew it late. Like, you're talking about missed opportunities. Oh, thank God they're getting healthy. What a freaking terrible loss for San Francisco. You had them multiple times. And again, 2 first downs. 20 yards is all it takes. And San Francisco is coming off a game where their young defensive backs had 2 pivotal third down safeties or penalties against the Saints, and you're like, oh, like, this is not going well. I am in a blender. I need a drink. And I don't even drink, but I might need one. Because this is getting dicey. I don't love it. And you're just like, oh, you're getting angry. I'm getting so mad. But Benson runs for a first down. San Francisco calls timeout. Okay? On 1st and 10, San Francisco stuffs a Kyler Murray run for 1 yard. They then call a timeout with 2 minutes and 15 seconds left. It's 2nd and 9. The run defense, again, like we have talked about coming into the week, the Cardinals cannot run the football. The worst run blocking offense in football. You lose James Conner, they cannot put games away late because they cannot bleed the clock. They can't run the football. They can't get first downs. We have talked about this over and over and over again. The Cardinals, I know who you are. I knew who you were coming into this game. You could not close out. If you listened to the show, you would have known this. You would have known this was the solution. They get the run stuff on 2nd and 9. It goes to the 2-minute warning. It sets up a 3rd and 9. And the Cardinals right here gave San Francisco the game. Because it's 3rd and 9. If you run the football and you don't get it, you force San Francisco to burn their last timeout, okay, giving their offense maybe a minute and 50, maybe minute 45, depending on the run you use and how far you get, okay? Or let's say you get it on. Say you get 5 yards on the ground, 6 yards on the ground, it's 4th and 3. Do you go for it? Do you be aggressive? Do you ice the game? It sets up more of a question mark. It gives the Cardinals more control, keeps San Francisco on their heels. Instead, while San Francisco's geared up for the run, 3rd and 9, they drop back to pass. Now, I don't mind inherently them putting the ball in their quarterback's hand. That's their best offensive player. Why wouldn't you do it? The run hasn't worked for you. You're at least leaving Murray the option to run, scramble with the football, which he's really good at doing when he decides he wants to do that. And we talked about coming into this game, Murray does not like quarterback design runs. He doesn't like doing it. He takes hits. He wants to avoid them. He doesn't even like scrambling when it's designed for him to do so. He doesn't love running with the football. He doesn't love being a ball carrier. He wants to pass the football, which makes no sense. That's not that's not a team player, but not my quarterback. I don't care. Thank you for being bad in this game. Anyways, 3rd and 9, they drop back. Upton Stout gets beat by Zay Jones. But the recovery, they go up for the ball. Jones has the ball in his hands. If you see the still image of this play, it looks like a completion. Stout is on his back. Jones has the ball in front of him. It's in his hands. And he is going down to the ground to convert a 3rd and 9, ice the game. Would have been a killer victory formation for the Cardinals. Night, San Francisco. Boo-hoo. You get nothing. You lose. Instead, Stout, you little freaking feisty furball. I love you so much, man. You were awesome. Heck of a player. I was someone that said, I don't know about the pick. It's a nickel back in the 3rd round. You can get those guys later. Well, yes, you can still stick to that draft thought process. Probably isn't a bad one. Heck of a play. Fights all the way through the rep. Shows his grittiness, shows his fight, shows his effort, plays all the way through the whistle, gets a hand in there, is physical as Zay Jones' hands, the ball pops out, incomplete pass, and we're flexing saying, oh my God, what did the Cardinals just do? They're idiots. We have a chance. They punt the ball. Sky Moore learns from his mistake because he plants his rear end on the 10-yard line, backs up towards the 5 or 6, and fakes out the special teams unit, the gunners for the Cardinals, runs forward, the ball bounces behind him, goes in the end zone. San Francisco has 1 minute and 46 seconds with the ball, down by 2 points. A field goal wins you the game. And just like the minute and 14 seconds they had against New Orleans, San Francisco, Mac Jones, and Kyle Shanahan know how to operate with under 2 minutes. The offense gets better, more relaxed, and they march all the way down the field. The first play, incomplete pass. I said, okay, the hope is gone. The hope was not kept alive, if you will. But the next play, a quick toss to Jake Tunges over the middle for a first down. Then a Sky Moore completed reception for a first down. They're moving the football. Then San Francisco gets what I thought was defensive pass interference, but they called illegal hands to the face on Arizona. It moves you ahead 5 more yards. Bourne gets back-to-back completions. You're feeling yourself. It's a throwaway. You get with 25 seconds on the clock. 25 seconds on the clock. It's bleeding down. You have 1 timeout left. They call a screen pass to Christian McCaffrey on the left-hand side.
You're tuned into Auto Intelligence, live from Auto Trader, where data, tools, and your preferences sync to make your car shopping smooth.
They're searching inventory.
Oh, yeah.
They find what you need.
They're gonna find it.
You can make a budget for your wallet to help you succeed. Pricing's precise and true.
So true.
It's smarter car shopping.
Ooh.
Just for you.
Oh, it's just for you.
Ooh.
Find your next ride at autotrader.com. Powered by Auto Intelligence.
Which was a great kind of caught you sleeping play by San Francisco. And it goes 20 yards downfield to the Arizona 16. They spike the ball. Jones kind of kneels. They call a timeout with 4 seconds left. 4 seconds left. And I think I speak for all of us when the Jake Moody PTSD just started permeating all through my brain. And I was like, no. It was like I was Eddie Brock in Spider-Man 3 in the church in Jake Moody's Venom. And I'm like, what the heck was that? And I'm like, what's all over? Like, I'm being symbiotically taken over by Jake Moody PTSD. I don't want this. I don't want this. And it's like, it's making me angry and frustrated. I want to yell and scream. I'm so mad right now. And Eddy freaking Piñeiro De Niro walks out there, cool as a cucumber, and right through the uprights. Ball is snapped. boom, 35-yard game-winning field goal. And if you haven't seen it yet, go watch Eddy Piñeiro and his celebration. He's out there fist pumping like he won the Daytona 500. He's out there like he just shooting guns off with his fingers. He's getting in Cardinals' faces like, you want some of this? And it's just like, we did it. San Francisco completed what seemed improbable. What seemed like, oh my God, like they cannot keep threading the needle down to the wire over and over again. And it was a heck of a game. Like, this was a game where we had our complaints, we had our praises, we had our worries, we had our concerns, and felt like we had lost this game about 6 times. And the Cardinals, like I said, cannot put teams away. They couldn't put the Saints away late. They couldn't put the Panthers away late. Those were just bad teams that couldn't capitalize on their mistakes. And San Francisco equally made some mistakes. Red zone issues, couldn't run the football. But this was a great team win. That young defense, Mykel, Upton Stout, just so many big plays by them. Fred Warner with the big, pass block at the goal line or at the line of scrimmage. It was just team effort, man. They're gritty. They fight to the end. This team last year wouldn't do this stuff. And I can tell you now, if the Niners of 2024 were playing this schedule, they'd probably be 1-2, beating the Saints, maybe. That's probably the only game they win, and they're sitting here 0-2 in the NFC West if this was last year's team with last year's coaches. Now, with Saleh and Shanahan and some insulation behind some of the depth, and to be able to survive without Purdy, Kittle, Ayuk, Jennings, Robinson, and Nick Bosa and win a game like this, that is a testament to the coaching staff, the players, the young guys to not give up, to not get demoralized, to realize, hey, we ain't got our best guys out there, but we can still fight till the end and outdog somebody else. And quite frankly, that's what this was. The Cardinals got outdogged, and the Panthers couldn't do that. The Saints weren't good enough to do it. The Niners were good enough to outdog the Cardinals. Now, yes, you'd prefer this game not be that close. There's so many problems. Jake Brendel was terrible. Pooney wasn't great. Colby was iffy at best. And you couldn't run the football. Mac Jones turnovers, not having your wide receivers out there. But the run defense was so good in this game for San Francisco. It's been so good all year, but it was so good in this game. They held the Cardinals minus Kyler Murray's 37 yards. I will take out the mobile quarterback aspect of this. They held Trey Benson to 42 yards. James Conner, who got hurt in the early second half, to 22 yards. So that is 64 yards. And then 5 yards to Greg Dortch. 69 yards on the ground from James Conner, who literally iced this game last year for them and almost single-handedly beat San Francisco at home at Levi Stadium early last season. To 22 yards. Benson, who's at a pretty nice beginning to his second year with them, 42 yards. They held the entire offensive arsenal in check besides McBride, who kind of came on late, but it was only 5 catches for 43 yards and 1 touchdown. He had 8 targets. Meanwhile, on San Francisco's offensive side, McCaffrey had 27 total touches. That's a high number. He has 77 touches through 3 weeks. That's way too high, but he's healthy. He gets up every single time. He had over 140 yards from scrimmage today. That is combined on the ground through the air. He was tremendous. He had 15 targets through the air. His 17 carries plus his 15 targets. He was the center point of the offense, nearly 50% of the targeted plays. CMC has been the offense. Pearsall, we've already kind of praised him so much. 8 receptions for 117 yards. Kendrick Bourne, 4 receptions for 38 yards. Just Kyle Juszczyk, 1 reception for 1 yard and 1 touchdown. They're just finding ways to win. And when you can do that without your stars, it makes a difference. And yes, they were lucky at points. So some guys dropped some touchdowns and whatever, but San Francisco really deserves a lot of praise. And again, the hope is that once you get some guys back, luck kind of subsides and you're okay. Like you don't need the luck throughout the entirety of this season because because you have your weapons in place, you have your quarterback in place to help kind of lift you higher than needing luck to win games. But Mac Jones in the last drive was 5 for 8, 59 yards, helped setting up the game-winning field goal, which that includes 1 throwaway and 1 spike. So in reality, it was 5 for 6 for 59 yards. That's awesome. For how bad McCorkle can be sometimes, like he has found a way to win. And done it in really kind of clutch ways with San Francisco. Meanwhile, I thought Bryce Huff was awesome in this game. Mykel Williams was awesome. Like so many guys were awesome. I have talked so much in this show and previous shows about San Francisco's run defense, and here's an amazing stat to end the podcast. As we exit week 3 of the NFL season, San Francisco is 3-0. And we can point to so many things that have gone right for them and gone wrong. But if you told me what is the biggest change you have seen on the team, you can say personnel. I wouldn't disagree. I would say the biggest change they have made is the run defense. And here's the stat. Last year, the San Francisco 49ers run defense was giving up 1.5 yards per attempt before contact. So whoever they were playing, Cardinals, Rams, Seahawks, Saints, you're giving them a free 1.5 yards before contact per attempt. That ranked 24th in football. 24th. They were terrible. There's a reason why they lost so many games last year. It was people had 3rd and 3s, 3rd and 2s, weren't even on 3rd downs because they didn't have to be because San Francisco's run defense was so bad. This year, though, with Bosa and Bryce Huff and Mykel Williams and Alfred Collins and Kalia Davis and Jordan Elliott, who has still been a revelation this year for San Francisco, he's been awesome. West, everybody. Right now, San Francisco's yards allowed per attempt through 3 weeks, Cardinals, Saints, and Seahawks, 0.5 yards. They have reduced their yards before contact per attempt by a complete 1 yard. They have gone from the 24th ranked run defense in football in yards allowed before contact per attempt to the 4th best in football. That is a massive difference in games like this. To neutralize Alvin Kamara, to neutralize Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker in week 1, to neutralize Connor and Trey Benson and DeMarcado, and even Kyler Murray to a certain extent. You want to tell your friends, you want to ask me, what's the biggest difference you see in San Francisco this year? It's the run defense. It has changed outcomes of games already. That is the biggest difference, numero uno, as to why San Francisco and their defense looks so much better. It's why I think they're 3-0 currently. And look, the Cardinals kind of owned San Francisco in the numbers category, right? They had a better 3rd down conversion rate. They had a better 4th down conversion rate. They had more rushing yards as a total, 106. They were better in the red zone. They had less penalty yards given up, and they held the football for 9 more minutes. And San Francisco still won, while also giving them 1 turnover. Like the Cardinals, from an analytical standpoint, they had the TOP, the turnover differential, better in the red zone, better on 3rd downs, better on 4th downs. And they lost the game. You want to know why? Because the run defense and a little bit of luck. A little bit of luck. But tell me down below, what was your biggest takeaway from this loaded Week 3 win? Over an hour and a half to break this puppy down. It was a big one. It was a long one. Thank you for reliving this game with me. It was emotional. It was heartbreaking. It was heart-wrenching. It was heart-racing till the very end. So drop your comments down below. Tell me your biggest concern and the one thing that's positive you have seen different from San Francisco in 2025 compared to 2024. You can also follow us on social media at 49ers_access is the X or Twitter. 49ers.access is the Instagram. Go ahead and subscribe to the audio podcasting platforms. Leave us that 5-star review and subscribe to us on YouTube. Trying to get to 2,000 subscribers before the middle of the 2025 regular season. Tell your friends, tell your family, use those burner accounts. Let's get those numbers up. They're rookie numbers. Let's pump them up before Week 8 of the NFL season. But as always, my name is Sterling Bennett. San Francisco wins their third game in a row, advanced to 3-0 on the NFL season, beat the Seahawks, beat the Saints, and now escape against the Cardinals 16-15. It feels good. In fact, it feels great, baby. My name is Sterling Bennett, and as always, this has been 49ers Access. And until next time, stay faithful.